So this is my end of day recap for Thursday, right? So today was a little bit harder to determine the bias, the narrative, and what price will do, but especially mainly on ES though. So let's get into it. So we've seen this week open up here on NQ, ES. Right, let me pull up why I'm rare right now. So YM, we opened up here, and we seen right away this week open higher, and I wanted this to hold. Monday created S&T via advanced premium to discount. YM was above range high, while ES and NQ were both in around EQ for the range in this gap here. And then Monday reverse printed a nice C2. Looking within that C2, do we have that V shape? Nice V shape. Clean filler swings at the lows. This is such a clean universal sequence on the floor. But we've seen Tuesday kind of just consolidate, not really do much. I try to use glitch, great. Right, kind of just doesn't really respect that C2. And then but Tuesday there was a clean trade. I forgot when though. It was a clean trade I missed. I forgot what happened though. But yeah, Tuesday did that. And so now it's like, okay, are we gonna hold this SMT? Because right now it looks like filler SMT. Are we gonna hold it or are we gonna break it? And I think that we should continue lower because ES has super clean feather swings at the lows. Same with YM. Go to NQ. Right now, yeah, NQ doesn't have shit, but nevertheless, we hold it on Wednesday. I didn't trade Wednesday because it's FOMC, but Wednesday does shoot lower. And now at this point, Wednesday reversed and expanded like crazy within the same day and hit key objectives on ES, NQ, YM as well. YM shot lower, took all this out, reached the relevant swing here. Now there's nothing beyond this low. So just thinking about phases of price. I mean, when we expand, especially into a key level, we can undergo a new phase of price, retracement, reversal, consolidation, whatever. Despite the fact that ES it's kind of leaving filler swings here. So like when I was going into today, I mean, it was pretty obvious, like, okay, we can continue lower possibly. All right, Monday high of the week, Wednesday kind of like a GXT, a line sequence in a way. There's SMD here though in a way. It's pretty weird, but nonetheless, Wednesday C2, Thursday C3. Continuation, but it's only ES that has open targets, which the slow was taken a long time ago on NQ. But then you got to think, okay, NQ is extremely bearish. C2, C3, C4. Now Thursday C5. That's kind of when we can start considering counter trend or a new phase of price, right? And same with YM, right? There's no reason to continue lower. So maybe we do continue lower, but then we gotta apply our if then and invalidations, right? So if Thursday is going to create C3 continuation, then price must ideally open higher at first and show respect towards EQ of pretty range or the refined key level. So let's do that. Let's refine the key level. Is there a 4-hour gap? It's not a 4-hour gap. Maybe maybe 1800 will create one. It doesn't on any asset. I don't think anyways. Yeah, not YM and Q. And Q doesn't, right? So at that point, it has to be a 1-hour swing high, which we don't really create during Asia. We don't really do shit, so no Asia trade, or automatically just not a clean Asia trade, or not a clean day to take rate Asia. So I just skipped it and just backtested. And then going into New York game though, London engineers a relevant swing within this range, within pre-range. So this is now the refined key level. So if we're going to continue lower from yesterday's C2, and if today's going to create C3 continuation, this is the only area for price to reverse from. If we don't manipulate this high, if we don't reverse away from this, show once we hit this key level, if price doesn't show reversal signatures away from this, then we're probably going to reach for pre to high, which is nice feather swings on all assets pretty much. So going into 6M, see price reaches that high on all assets. So there's no SMT with it, and we just fail to manipulate it. We just completely we displace through it. We don't reverse away from it. We just consolidate on ES, kind of displace through it. So at that point, it's not really clear. It's not clean and obvious. The trader and the driver. It's clearly looking like NQ is wanting to reach for these highs here. Clearly, we're not reversing away from this high, the refined key level. But I mean, it could still do it. It could possibly. But realistically, the driver needs to confirm that. And 8:30 news didn't do shit. Ideally, if there's 8:30 news and we hit the key level prior, the driver 8:30 news should have reversed away from it. Didn't do shit. And then at 9 AM, 30 minutes right before the 9:30, the driver, the opening bell, price just continues through it. So very clearly and obviously, we're not reversing away from this. This is a failure to manipulate the refined killable. RFK, what the fuck? Alright. And we're gonna reach for pretty high then at that point, pretty much. Now my bearish bias, holy shit, is invalidated. Now I can, which is logical because like I said, the daily bias, right, supports that. Extremely bearish on NQ. There's no reason to continue lower on pretty much all assets besides ES. But now that we're clearly showing no respect towards the refined kill on all assets, and we're displacing away from these feather swings, we can fade those feather swings on ES, right? NQ is very, just obviously stronger. It's the strongest asset. So therefore ES is most likely middle asset. Y is probably the weakest asset, pretty much. And so YM is NQ is probably going to reach this high first. There's no trader in the driver. I wouldn't want to trade in the driver anyways because the driver is opening up at the high of day, which is just really just not that clean. But there was no trade anyways, so there was no entry, I don't think. We just continue. There was no SMT, whatnot. You know what I mean? I guess there was here, but it was just like SMT fill, random SMT fill, not like a second stage PSP SMT fill or whatnot. So no valid trade. Again, unclean anyways, not really worth trading. And then we seen NQ during the driver shoot higher, and we reached the pretty high at the failure swings first, the higher time from drawing liquidity first before YM or ES. So now possibly I could trade ES or maybe YM as the lagging assets in continuation to break the SMT. More times than not, though, obviously the middle asset is going to break the SMT, which is ES. Well, always the middle asset is going to break the SMT because it's typically stronger than the lagging asset, right? But so now what do I want to see? I want to see NQ fail to manipulate this high, and I want to see the lagging asset switch strength to catch up with the lead asset. Switch strength with the lead asset. So, and so I waited. Let's mark out 10 AM. 10 AM opened up here. Gotta be perfect with it. So 10 AM opened up, and it wasn't opened up with an aligned swing, pretty much. It's creating a gap, so we gotta wait for the gap no matter what. And we just don't create S&B fill. We don't create string switching at all with this asset. And there was no string switching at the highs here too, which is important because it's not a valid reversal at that point away from this. If you wanted to try taking that, there was no two-stage. I mean, there was two-stage crack, I guess, via like double sweep SMT like that, but not clean. I don't trade that. I demand string switching, and even then, that would be kind of trend to my overall bullish bias, so I wouldn't take that. And then we see like all assets kind of like displace away. In a way, we create gaps, whatnot. You know, like NQ though isn't really doing that though. I mean, it is, yeah, displacement away, kind of have a valid C3 closure, but it still looks pretty weak. So it's not really something I would want to see. And then if you look at YM is really shooting lower. So maybe this SMD does hold. It's possible. And the day opens higher at first, so maybe we could fade the daily candle. The bias could actually be bearish. We could actually possibly reverse away from this. Because I mean, yes, does still have these fillers at the lows. Maybe we do. But I don't really like trading. If I'm gonna trade any asset, it's gonna be YM, right? As a leading asset or the weakest asset in reversal away from the universal sequence, which would be away from this gap to target these feather swings. But I really didn't like it. I like the bullish bias honestly more, based on just the, like I said, the daily narrative and all that. Nevertheless, we don't form anything here. We completely shoot through this high, this gap. We don't form any like second stage PSP has to be full, or shrink switch second stage PSP to confirm trading the lead asset, etc. in continuation, whatever. So can't do that. We completely disrespect that. And now it's kind of looking like more of a retracement signature on NQ, which is a filler to mid plate, this SMT. So that's great to see. And you can already see the strength switch happening. YM and ES are picking up strength. They're shooting higher, looking stronger right now than versus NQ. We continue that strength. And then 12 opens up. And I thought this was super lethargic. Honestly, this is my fault. And I just was impatient because this is exactly this is a good thing to learn from. Amazing thing to learn from, because I told myself that I was gonna wait till 10 a.m., which is 1 p.m. New York time. Right now it's 12, so 9 a.m. my time. And I was like at 9:30, going into 12:30. I was like, I don't think we're gonna perform. I really don't think we're gonna do anything. I don't think, because price is already expanding like crazy. It's really looking super slow going into 12. It's not really just looking clean. So I was like, even though this is still valid, I was like, I don't think we're gonna do anything, and I decided to get off the charts because I wanted to do something else. I grew impatient. So, but nevertheless, we've seen 12 open up, and this was a valid entry. I'm very mad I fucking missed this, bro. Of course, but it's all good. It really doesn't matter. But we created a gap here, a very small gap. And I thought I'd seen this gap, and I was like, okay, I really don't think NQ is going to trade into that. I just don't think we're going to do that. If it's going to be NQ, because I mean, we have to. NQ has to trade in that gap because NQ is the strongest asset, the leading asset. I want to see this asset momentarily switch weaker, so it should trade in this gap while ES doesn't. Well, and YM too, and you can just tell these are, the next candles open up pretty far away from this gap on both ES and YM, while NQ is opening up more closer to the gap high. So if any asset's going to trade into the gap first, it's going to be NQ, very obviously. But I just didn't think we were going to do it, honestly. So I turned off the charts. And literally going into 12:30, I turned off the charts. And then we've seen this. Well, NQ does trade into the gap, creating that string switch via S&B fill. So now we have confirmation to, you can count this as the universe sequence, or just confirmation to F-sync. And I created a new rule as well for myself. I'm still keeping the rule when trading reversal, the initial swing points away from the key level. I have to demand string switch into the reversal. If I don't get that, then I have to demand displacement away, and I'm trading the leading asset in reversal away from the universal sequence. And if I'm doing that, then if I don't get the string switch at the reversal, then I'm either trading the lag and not simply. I don't know why I say it like that, because it technically is, but I need to just think about it like this. If I don't get the string switch at the reversal, then I must demand displacement away. Then I'm either trading the leading asset or the lagging assets in continuation away from that. If it's a leading asset, meaning the draw on liquidity hasn't been hit yet, and I'm trading the strongest asset away from the key level, then I have to demand the second stage PSP has to be filled, or a string switch second stage PSP. But if the leading asset did trade into the draw on liquidity, like for example here on NQ, and I'm trading lagging assets in continuation to break that S&T, then I can demand all forms of string switch. I used to just demand SMD fill or a string switch second stage PSP, which now I'm demanding SMD fill. If it's not SMD fill, like there's no SMP with the cap, then it has to be, and then it can be a PSP, or it can be SMT string switch via swing low SMT, right? Where maybe price trades into this gap, forms a swing point, but doesn't expand away from that swing point. Then maybe one asset sweeps that low out while this asset doesn't. That'd be a string switch on this asset via swing low SMT to break the SMP size, right? But of course, those are just the basic forms of string switching. You can also increase the odds, the probability of them when you increase, like when you add like 2 stages, etc., right? But I'm gonna do that I'm gonna do that. It's gonna increase how many trades I take, but I think it's valid, especially since I'm lowering how much I'm shooting for. Instead of shooting for a 3 RR, I'm now just shooting for a 2. So in reality, that's gonna increase my win rate, and I just need more trades. So I think that I'll still be more profitable. I think it's fun. I think it's fun. But anyways, so even if the trade doesn't work out, I can still more times than not price will reach my take profit before reversing lower, whatever. I don't know. But because I'm not demanding too much from price to expand higher, right? Anyways, so yeah, so we have the string switch. Everything's aligned now. Even oh no, never mind. I was gonna say the 10 EM4 can also support that bullish mention, but it doesn't. So I had to wait for 12, right? So the daily's aligned, the small wick, 6 hours aligned, small wick, the 90 minutes aligned, and the 1 hour 30 minutes aligned. As long as we have that clean V shape away within this swing point, this candle, to confirm the S&P, the reversal, then the low of this candle, right? Then all time frames will be aligned, and I have confirmation to async. And the reason I'm also super mad about this is because look how we just left these highs here, and then we retrace. That should kick off the retracement. This is so hyperbolic, bro. But yeah, then we look at this V shape away from it immediately after forming the S&P fall on all assets. Look at that. That is such a clean V shape. You couldn't ask for a better fucking V shape. I mean, unless we V shaped within one candle, but entry there, stop at the rejection block, shoot for that 2R. Even if I put my stop here at the EQ of the wick, that would be fine. That would have been fine too. It doesn't matter, because in reality, this is the low-hanging fruit. This is the main draw on liquidity. I know today can at least reach this or almost reach it, right? And to that high, I mean, I'm still getting a 3.5R, even if I had my stop at the discount wick. See, so like I don't need price to reach the main draw on liquidity to make money. I'm not demanding too much from price, so. But price nevertheless does, I think it barely doesn't retest the CST, and then it shoots higher, which I would go break even here, because this is a valid. I would no, I wouldn't go break even yet. It's not a valid CICC. I would wait for a 5 minute, honestly. Right here, though, we create a 5 minute CICC away from the key level, so that would have been valid. No real displacement away from it, though, but I would have definitely went break even there. And whatever happens, happens. It's all good. If it comes back and takes me out break even, then I'm not losing shit, so it doesn't really matter. Would be annoying though if it did that and then ran higher, but it almost does take me out, and then it goes higher. Eventually it creates that CSD super high res. We eventually do create that. Then I would definitely try my stop to this low. So now I'm break even. That will cover commissions, and then price reaches the 2RR. So reaches a 3R as well pretty easily. That's what I've been realizing too, is like with my model, every trade that actually works out with me shooting it for a 2R, most of the times price does reach a 3RR, honestly. Like I very rarely see very rarely see price not reach a 3RR. especially in this scenario where it's like we're so close to the draw liquidity. I mean, obviously it's going to reach as high. So in reality, I could just shoot for that 3.5. Eventually, we do get there, and then we almost reach the. I mean, I could possibly reach for 5R, honestly, too. So I mean, the potential R is 5. But I was only shooting for a 3. But anyways, so that's like the only opportunity that I seem to can trade NQ as a lead asset in reversal towards drawn liquidity. I had the trade ES as the middle asset in continuation. I had the trade asset sync. So one thing that I've been realizing though lately is like it's easy to pattern trade in this shit. Pattern trade, reversals, continuations, right? Asset sync. But it's hard to build narrative. It's hard to build like pretty prominent, a prominent narrative or just like an understanding on what price is doing in a way where like you're very confident on what it's going to do until you start doing it more and then you get better at it and then it becomes like clockwork, right? I can tell that I'm just rushing it. I'm not wanting, because it's crazy. Because back in the day, I don't know why I'm doing this now, bro. It's just so hard. Like everything that's going on right now in my life, it's so hard to do this. It's just so exhausting. But I love doing it. I love it, but it's just so exhausting because of everything that's going on. But I know that So what I'm trying to work on now is building narrative, right? Because I understand the model. I have the model fully understood. I know how to trade it. Now it's just psychology that I need to master, and which realistically probably will take longer than mastering the model itself. But it's whatever. It's something to make you a better trader, or better at trading your model too. But anyways, so psychology and then just building narrative is like the two main things that I need to work on, and also procrastination, because I've been procrastinating like crazy to want to do my work. So like when I tapering, like today especially, like I did pretty good with tapering today. I was actually curious. Like I built my narrative. I did pretty good. I was very mindful of just building my narrative and understanding that today isn't really too clear and obvious for what it will do. So I got to see more information. I got to demand more information to actually determine what price will do. Pricing going into the driver confirmed the narrative based on the fact that we disrespected the invalidation or fine kill level that we should have formed the high day off if the price was going to be bearish, and then going from there. But so yeah, but like psychology though, like what am I struggling with psychology? It mainly has to do with trusting the trade, trusting the model. Like automatically, I've been watching a lot of videos on psychology lately, and a lot of people are saying like they accept the risk before they even enter into the trade, or you gotta understand when PA, it's an A plus B minus C type setup, whatever. Understand when the market conditions aren't clean, and be comfortable with just skipping the day, being like whatever, fuck this day, I don't care, I don't need to make money. And um when you have the need of money, that will kill your trading. You can't it's kind of weird. It's weird because like you get into trading for the money. That's the whole reason why you're fucking trading, to eventually just to make enough to live off of, and then eventually it will grow into to generational wealth and all that, whatever. But you will never even get to the point where you need that. You will never get to the point where you're pulling consistent profits out of the market. And who am I to say this, because I haven't even made a payout yet, but I'm just saying it's true because I know it's true because I'm too focused on the money. When you have the need for money, that kills your trading, because you're not focused on price action. You're rushing it. You're forcing trades. Um, you don't really care at that point. You just want to see that green on the day. You want to fucking make money. You're blind at that point. You're not passionate. You're not ambitious or curious enough about what PA is doing. you're not really trading your mono. You're just trading because you want to trade. And so, but the main thing that I'm struggling with psychology is trusting the model, which I've narrowed it down to. I've simplified it. I know what I need to demand when trading reversal, when trading continuation, um, and that helps simplify it instead of overcomplicating literally every move in the market, whatever. And so that helped for sure. Definitely simplifying things helps out massively. Like now, I only trade Asia and Eurocam. I only trade indices or metals. I used to trade oil. I've realized that oil doesn't really provide many setups. It's not really, I don't like it. So I just completely cut that market out of my watch list. I don't care about that market anymore, which is fine. Because even just watching indices itself, there's plenty full of opportunities. I don't even really trade metals, to be honest. I only trade it when I know it's like super clean and obvious. I still don't even really check it in the morning. I only check it to see if like indices and metals are correlated, if they're moving in the same direction, whatever, like intermarket analysis, etc. But because they're correlated in a way. But so I'm heavily just mainly trading indices, and I only focus on 2 sessions. Right, it's either Asia from 1800 to like 2200. I don't really ever stay because it's 2200 7 p.m. my time. I don't ever stay to like London. So it's like the setup has to form early on in Asia, or else I don't trade Asia, which is fun. And then during your game, I don't trade 8:30 news. If there is 8:30 news, and I don't really like trading during the driver because I've had bad experiences with it. Like, I mean, the driver can be very, obviously volatile, and you can make a lot of money with it if you um, just are good at trading it. But I've seen too many times where a price will be so clean, it'll provide an A+ setup, and I will, take this setup literally any other time of the day. If it was 10:30, I would take it. If it was 12, I would take it. But at 9:30, of course, it fails, and then price will take me out and then go my way, right? Or it'll just fail entirely and for no reason. So now, if I do trade in the driver, it has to be A+. It has to be super clean and obvious. Like, say this is the driver here, which it pretty much is on today, and say this asset, say this was where I wanted the high data form off, or I wanted to see reverse away from this because the narrative supported it. Yeah. Then say we create our first stage, and then second stage here. Say this candle didn't sweep out this high. So say we did have string switch second stage SMT at this key level here, and I wanted the reversal away from it. And say this driver 930 was creating that string switch. Then obviously the reversal is going to form during the driver. We hit the key level part of the driver should just reverse away from it. If we have the string switch second stage SMT away from the key level, then I can trade the reversal. If not, then I gotta wait for the driver to displace away, etc., and trade continuation. But if the driver forms that reversal signature, then obviously I'm going to try trading that because that's where the reversal is going to form. It's not going to happen at 10 probably. I would ideally want to see it at 9:30, and yeah. So obviously I'm going to try trading that. But when it's not obvious, when it's not clear and obvious, like today during the driver, like 9:30 open up here, like why would I trade that? I don't really care. Like yeah, we did. I think we did form the. We didn't really form shit. It was kind of clean during on metals, honestly, but metals was kind of clean. I'm not gonna lie. The daily bias was awesome, but if I do trade during the driver, I only risk 150, half risk, and ideally I shoot for like a 3 RR or more, which a 3 RR would be like $600, so I'm fine with it. Which is like a 2 RR if I'm risking, max risk. So, or no, it's 450. What the fuck am I saying? Sorry, 4 RR. So ideally it's a 4 RR, but so I trade 930. This is like, you see this repeats. Most traders trade from 930 to like 11, 12, right? That's like very common. Same with me. Like it's 930. If it's not clean in the driver, then I just skip it and I wait for 10 a.m., 10:30, or 12, right? Within that period. Usually it's 9:30, 10, 10:30, or 12, around there. Right? So it's just like, I don't know what I'm saying, but so simplifying everything, helps definitely. But so yeah, I'm just yapping right now. Fucking hell, this video is way too long. But so yeah, the main things I've been realizing though, like I said lately, is I need to work on psychology, of course. But the main thing that I need to work on, the most important thing, is narrative. Building narrative, being curious about what price is doing, and sometimes it'll just be super unclean, and it's hard to build narrative, and then maybe you shouldn't trade that day because it's unclean at that point. But of course I can't give up on it. I still have to like figure it out. But it's not like I'm trying to force a trade it because there's no model at that point. There's no entry. But like, yeah. So narrative and psychology. And then I've been trying to become more disciplined, and like I've been trying to change up my schedule as well with what I do within my day. Like instead of exercising later, like around noon after after I tape read, or yeah, after like 9 a.m. my time, which is 12 p.m. So after like 9, 10 a.m. After I get done with tape reading, I'll exercise. Now I don't do that anymore. I exercise literally right when I wake up. It helps me stay more disciplined throughout the day. Helps me get more done. So I'm gonna stick with that schedule. It's gonna be hard because honestly, it's super hard to fucking work out right when I wake up. But I can tell that it's definitely helping me for sure. So I just need to like fix things, simplify things, change things up, and just experiment. But yeah, so anyways, that's today. No trade. It was definitely a trade though. Sadly, I fucking missed it because I was impatient. I should have literally told myself I was gonna wait till 10, but I decided to leave. I decided because I was just like, fuck it, this doesn't look like it's gonna do anything. So that's my fault. So now let's see if Friday will do shit. I might not trade this week, but so that means on Tuesday I missed a trade, and then today I missed a trade. Sadly, but it is what it is.